Hi everybody and welcome to my kitchen, and I hope you had a fantastic St. Patrick's Day, even if it was spent at home in lockdown. Today I'm bringing you my last recipe in the series of traditional Irish recipes, but this one is a bit different. The recipes that I've showed you so far are recipes that I make on a regular basis. I'm very familiar with them and I very well know how they taste, and I know that I really like them. Today, I'm going to bring you a recipe that I've never done before, I've never eaten before, so it's going to be super excited to see how I get on with it and whether I like it or not. This is a recipe that I've heard a lot about in all of my years living in Ireland. I've been here for 20 years and in all that time, I've never had an opportunity to try it. So let's do it together. Today we're going to make a Dublin Coddle. Let's go through the ingredients that we're going to need. I have some oil for frying and chicken stock. I've got some potatoes, onions, carrots and garlic, salt and pepper for seasoning, some freshly chopped parsley, bacon lardons and Irish sausages. Irish sausages have a very specific and delicious flavor and texture. So if you can get them, make sure you get these ones. They're not like European sausages, they're not like hot dogs or your chorizo or Polish sausages. These are very popular to have for breakfast. If you've ever heard of an Irish or even an English fry, these are the sausages that you want to use. Let me know in the comment section if you'd like to see me do a fry up one of the days. This is one of those recipes that you literally put everything to the pot, let it simmer away for 1 to 2 hours, and you come back and everything's ready. But I'm going to walk through the process with you. As I mentioned, I haven't had an opportunity to actually have this dish myself. So I've done a lot of research and I've reached out to some friends of mine, and I want to give out a special thanks to the McCanns, the Browns and the Toots for sharing their home recipes with me. I've gone through them and I've taken what I think are the best bits from them, but I'm going to add my own little spin to it as well. Let's go ahead and prep our ingredients. I've peeled my vegetables, so I'm just going to chop them up. We're going to be boiling our veggies for 1 to 2 hours. So I'm gonna keep this size kind of chunky so that it doesn't all disintegrate on me while it's boiling. Around this size, I think, should work well for us. When I was doing my research for this recipe, I learned that apparently this originates from around the time of World War II. And the idea was that food was scarce at the time, and basically it was just one of those recipes where you throw in whatever you had around the house and made a nice stew out of it. Which I think sometimes is nice to know the history of where your recipes come from. Potatoes are done. I'm going to move on to the carrots. And also from my research, I found that the addition of carrots might be a little bit controversial. Apparently they don't go in the original recipe, but I really wanted to include them because I think they will give us a nice contrast of color in there. Otherwise your soup or your stew probably be looking a bit dull on you, so definitely want to put carrots in there, and I think they'll add a nice sweetness also. Again, I'm going to keep them nice and chunky. Last, I'm going to do some onions. With my onions, I'm going to dice them. Again, this is a stew, so the idea is that everything kind of merges or mushes together, so don't be too picky about how you're chopping your onions or any of your veggies. This recipe, like a lot of Irish recipes, is all about that comfort. So this on a rainy evening, I think we'll go down a treat. Lastly, I'm going to do my garlic in slices. I've also seen a lot of kind of more chefy versions of this dish where you slice your potato instead of cubing it, and you kind of layer the dish in the pot. You know, you put your onions at the bottom, then your meat and your other veggies, and at the very top you kind of arrange nicely the potatoes. Boil it for a while and then goes to the oven to kind of crisp them up. But that's not what I'm doing today. There's nothing wrong with the rustic look. Now that my veggies are done, I'm gonna go and prepare the sausages. I'm only gonna chop them in about thirds. All right, everything's prepped. I'm gonna go wash up quickly and we'll start cooking. Right, what I wanna do is develop a bit of flavor first in some of my ingredients before everything goes into the pot. So first I'm gonna fry my onions and my garlic, get them nice and kind of caramelized, and then put into the pot. After that, I'm gonna fry up the bacon and try to render out a lot of the fat before I put it into my pot. Finally, I'm gonna fry my sausages to give them a bit of color and also start to develop their flavor. I'm gonna add in a little bit of oil to give my onions a helping hand. I want them to brown, I don't want them to burn. Now that my pans come to temperature, I'm gonna throw in my onions and my garlic. I'm also gonna season my components kind of every step of the way so we can really start to develop that flavor from the very beginning and all the way through. A bit of salt. And pepper. My onions are starting to get translucent. This is good, but I do want them to develop a bit of color. You see already some of my onions are getting this lovely brown color. That's the type of color that I want on all of them. I've got my heat up quite high. That's why I'm constantly stirring, because I want the color, I don't want them to burn. And in fact, this step isn't traditional. This is one of the new things that I'm adding in, because I really do believe that this is gonna add extra depth of flavor. And while it's simmering away for an hour, 2 hours, all these cherry bits are gonna dissolve into the stock, and it's gonna be fantastic. My onions are ready. I'm gonna put them straight into my pot. On the same pan, I'm now gonna cook down my bacon. Listen to that sizzle. I have my heat high now because I want also to develop a bit of color on my bacon. Again, once those cherry bits dissolve into the stock, it's gonna give us so much amazing flavor. I've reduced the temperature down and I'm just gonna leave it there for about a minute for that fat to render out, and then we'll be ready to move on. Okay, I'm gonna put all my bacon into the bowl. Try not to get all the fat. And then as it cools a bit, the fat will settle to the bottom, so then I'll transfer my bacon over to the pot. Lastly, I'm gonna brown my sausages. I'm gonna put it all in there. Just let them develop a bit of color. Shouldn't take more than a few minutes. Okay, you can see my sausages are browning very quickly. I'm not trying to cook them all the way through now. They're gonna cook in the stew. I'm just gonna flip them a bit to give them color on the other side. These are ready. Nice, beautiful color. So I can transfer these one by one into the pot. And again, avoiding the fat. I finished with all of my frying up, so let's just get everything ready into our pot. I already have my onions and my sausage in there, so I'm just gonna go in with my carrots, the potatoes, and I've got the bacon. I've put in a paper towel to soak in a lot of the excess oil, so I'm quite confident that I've got a good bit of it out. So I'm gonna go straight in with the bacon too. I'm gonna season with a bit of salt and pepper. I'm gonna go in also with my parsley, and finally I'm gonna top it all up with my chicken stock. I wanna make sure that everything is submerged in my stock. We're gonna pop the lid on and let it come to a boil. My coddle has now come to the boil. I'm gonna give it a quick stir. I can see magic's already happening in the pot. I'm gonna reduce the heat down just to a simmer and let it cook away for, at the very least, an hour and 15 minutes. Do come back every 15 to 20 minutes to give it a stir. We don't want stuff burning at the bottom, but other than that, you can go off and enjoy your day. My coddle's been bubbling away for about an hour and a half, so let's check it out. That is looking perfect. It's thickened up quite a good bit. My potatoes have started to crumble a little bit. which I'm pretty sure is what you want to happen. I'm gonna ladle some in to my bowl and I'll give it a try. Make sure you get a few sausages and potatoes, bit of carrot in there. I've cleared the decks, so the time to taste it has finally come. I am super excited, my dish is looking beautiful. I think this coddle will go really well with a pint of Guinness or some homemade Irish soda bread. If you want to know how to make it yourself, click on the card here. I did sprinkle a bit of parsley on top, just going to complement that flavor that we put in there initially. Let's get right into it. Make sure I get some of the coddle and a sausage. That is absolutely delicious. It is such a hearty meal. We build so much flavor from the beginning and we seasoned at every stage as well. Oh, it's definitely worth the wait. The potatoes are also nice and soft. They started to kind of break apart and they're really helping to thicken the coddle as well. I think I found one of my new favorite recipes. Extremely tasty. Make sure you give it a try. Cheers. Amazing. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comments down below if you've ever had this recipe before and if this is how you make it at home. If you like this video and you would like to see the other recipes in my traditional Irish recipe series, make sure you have subscribed to the channel and turn on the notifications so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. I post every week. Also, don't forget to give us a like. And with that, I leave you for this video. Sláinte.